On the Fringe with Dan radio style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. We've got a very wonderful show put together. Trump was on this Al Smith show or dinner. It said some very, very funny stuff, some cool stuff. He's been all over the place, so we've got a bunch of interviews with him, Tyrus, and he was on Fox for some other stuff. Also got Kamala Harris, I don't know, kind of look like a fail. We see the deep state kind of failing. We got a whole bunch of stuff around elections and voting. Voting just started today. Also, just a quick kind of funny thing. Literally, I was an hour and 10 minutes into my video for you guys for today, the one you're watching right now. This has happened to me on numerous occasions, and I finally kind of, I think, figured out the trend. I have a problem where when I talk about things I'm not supposed to talk about, which I don't necessarily know where that line is, by the way, I find it accidentally. But there's been a number of times, I literally, the last 3 times I can remember, last 3 times I've had my computer crash in the middle of recording, has been me talking about something that's, I don't know, like I'm not supposed to talk about it. I don't know what it is. It's weird. It's like when I'm doing it, I'm like, oh, I'm sharing something gold. And yeah, even in the fact when I was doing this recording, I literally had to rewatch the video because I'd forgotten what I was going to say. They tried to stop me that way first. And I should have learned. I should have gotten it figured out. Like, I just forgot. Let it go. You're not supposed to talk about it, Dan. And instead, I'm like, no, I'm going to talk about this. And then talked about it, got another 20 minutes into the thing, crash during the recording. I can sort of deal with the recording, but it creates this jacked file, and it really gets weird and squiggly towards the end. It's just not worth it, so we're re-recording. All of us are going through a fun experience right now, folks. That's all I can say. All right, let's get into it. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about. Oh, yeah, I didn't open Telegram yet, did I? Where's Telegram? Come to me, Telegram. Come to me. There you are. Where are we at? Oh, yeah. So, good meme. What can be unburdened by what has been? For hopefully you guys are looking at this. If not, on the left side we got Trump and Vance, what can be. And the other right side is Harris, Kamala, unburdened by what has been. Yeah, it'd be nice to get rid of all of that nonsense, wouldn't it? Here's an individual that's asking a very solid question, or somebody's asking the question, and he's just making facial expressions. But when public school says, please don't send your kids to school with masks on this Halloween as they interfere with the learning environment, please ask any one of these to explain then what happened in COVID. And of course, they're going to say, well, we didn't know, we learned, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, okay. But why do we still have places then, like San Francisco, for example, like the heart of the dumbest state in our union, in the heart of the dumbest group of people in our state, you know, like the heart of retardation is really, it's right here. It's where that gene comes from, I guess. And it's up there in that Sacramento area. They're the ones that are wearing masks right now. They literally have gone back to mask mandates starting in November. You know, because there's no need for it right now, but either there's going to be a need or, it's just a good idea. Is it? It's a stupid idea, and here's a lot of reasons why. Now, it's in doctors' offices, not schools per se, but still, people are stupid. Can't help it. October 17th, that was yesterday for me right now. I don't know where you're at, but October 17th was the start of the Hunter's Moon, which obviously we've talked a lot about in the past, being Hunter Biden and all that, and it's been fun how much Q posts that we've tried to smudge onto every single moment of every single year that's been wrong over and over and over. Might finally be right, though. Many of us are wondering if this is the year. It might be, though. You know, 11.5 is a legitimate number right now. You never knew. But yeah, the 100 Moon was a cue to everybody because, like, winter's coming. So get your last good hunt in and stockpile. And get ready. So the Hunter's Moon is here. Stockpile. Get ready. That's all we can say, right? That wasn't what got me busted, trust me. None of this did. Not yet, anyways. Everyone's talking about Diddy, but they aren't ready for the Simon Cowell story, and I don't think any of us are, and it really bugs me. I hope that's not the same Asian girl that Obama gets to pass around. That really bugs me, but yeah, there's a lot of people. It's sad because my girlfriend, she likes The Voice and America's Got Talent. She loves those two shows. So literally that is the only TV I actually, there's a couple Discovery Channel things I kind of enjoy and cooking shows that I occasionally watch. But as far as stupid TV, these are the only 2 stupid shows I watch. And it's because my girlfriend likes them and I watch them with her and they're oddly sort of entertaining. Simon Cowell, dirty, dirty bird. And I almost wonder if all the guys on those shows are. Like, I just wonder. Because some of the people that are on there are some of the people that kind of fall into these Epstein kinds of places. Just how it works out. Here is a dude that's claiming, and I'm not saying it's not true. This makes a lot of sense. Really does. I've lived in this area for a long time. This makes a lot of sense. And there's a lot of places like this. And you've got to think about all the industries that surround it. Hollywood, for example, Disneyland, for example. Both of those things exist here and in Florida and other places. But two real key ones with Hollywood specifically. When you think about all the child actors and everything. We've got a really interesting piece of information if this is true.
NDA is expired and you could talk about this. You used to work at a secret Starbucks, is that right?
Yeah, there is a Starbucks that is like above reserve, like a Starbucks no one's ever heard of or been to. All right. Have you ever wondered while driving in Los Angeles, how come you've never seen like Will Smith stuck in traffic on the 405?
Yeah.
I've never seen a 1%er just in their car stuck in traffic.
Why is that?
That's because there's a series of intricate tunnels underneath Los Angeles known as the actor bond. I'm not kidding. Like, they get access points to move through the city without ever having to be in traffic. You can come up in LAX, you can pop up at Dodger Stadium. Underneath there in those tunnels is Starbuckses set up at different locations to allow them to get coffees while they're driving. All of
them?
Seinfeld.
You've
Oprah,
seen Seinfeld down there?
Bono. I've seen Seinfeld down there. Dude, almond milk latte, 2 shots.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was he a good tipper?
They don't have to pay.
So this has been underneath Los Angeles for a few years now? I mean, how long has this been there for?
I mean, it predates me. It seems like the city was built on top of it. So, I mean, I think this goes all the way back to the 20s.
This doesn't seem real almost. This is crazy.
I imagine how I sound saying it to people.
Now, one thing I'm going to say that I disagree with and have a problem with is I've worked in coffee literally for 15 years. 15 years. I worked at Starbucks and I worked at Pete's Coffee. 15 years. Okay? Everybody is the drink. That's how you know everybody, and eventually you're lucky you learn their name because you're supposed to. But the drink is who they are, always. Everybody, every one of you, you're the drink that you get, not a name. You can have fun with that too, actually, if you think about it. What's weird to me is the size is always a part of that. Because 2 shots is standard in a tall, I think, with a latte. Short has 1, I think. It's been a while since I worked at Starbucks. Pete's certainly was 2 in a small, as we call it. But it is interesting that he only says a 2-shot almond milk latte. It really should be a tall 2-shot almond milk latte or a tall almond milk latte. But the fact that he says it the way he says it is kind of weird. But if he's also working at this thing where he might see 5 people in a day or 10 people in a day, then I don't know, maybe he's had a slightly different experience than seeing hundreds of people over and over and over and over, day after day after day. So, again, just one thing I had a problem with, but outside of that, it was pretty solid. Interesting on this. Turn this down a little bit because it was kind of stupid. But Trump talking to Schiff here. Now, they're having an interesting conversation. At the very end of it, yeah, he does a couple little touchy touches, which is kind of cool. That's an endearing thing, and you know, there's 2 New Yorkers probably telling you, fuck you, and stuff like that. I don't know what you actually say when you're in New York. I think it's stuff like that. I think that's how you say hi. I'm not 100% sure. I don't speak New York or New Yorkese, or I don't speak Long Island, or however the frig it is. But they're having some sort of interesting discussion. Doesn't look angry, but it looks emotional. And Trump's like, all right, I got you. You're an idiot. That's cool. I can live with that. But then God was sitting between them. I just think it's funny that God, I use that somewhat euphemistically. I was brought up Catholic, so I can totally joke. I'm allowed. I got the secret book, the handshake and stuff. But yeah, it's very interesting. Very interesting. God had to actually sit between them. Donald Trump Jr. posted this: savage. My father just humiliated Chuck Schumer on live TV. He said, quote, "Look on the bright side, Chuck. When Kamala loses, you still have a chance to become the first woman president." Oh, man. Dude, he was on fire. We got more good stuff coming, but that was good. Jim Gaffigan. This was a bitchin' opener at this thing. And whether he's right, wrong, different, whatever, he's a dude that does the hot pocket, diarrhea pocket. They did funny as hell. I like Jim. I don't know if he's conservative or not, but I think he's a funny comedian. Even as he's gotten less funny, I still think he's funny. That's it. He was there. He said some funny shit.
The media has begun discussing the phenomena of secret Trump voters. I don't know if you've heard about this. People who publicly say they would never vote for Trump, but then when they go in the voting booth, they do. It's a small group. They're called the Biden family.
I think I've heard of them. I think. The Biden family. Oh, well, that might be true. Here's some of Elon Musk. Got a bunch of Elon Musk stuff. Anyway, he was at a town hall in Pennsylvania. We talked about how he was going to do 2 days out there. He's talking about his experience in the political world. I got to turn up the volume, I think. Hang on.
Difference. I haven't been politically active before. I'm politically active now because I think the future of America and the future of civilization is at stake.
I will say, too, I've always hated politics. Still do, by the way. Absolutely despise them. And it's something I always tend to stay out of. My family used to talk back and forth. I'd just sit back and enjoy it. And, hey, pass the butter, pass the green beans, whatever. Scathing new Secret Service report on Donald Trump assassination attempt warns a shooting will happen again. Yeah, they suck. We know this now. This is what's coming out. By the way, it's all under Alejandro Mayorkas. He's in charge of border security. He's in charge of Secret Service. He's also in charge of DHS. And they're all horrible right now. Now, I don't know if other agencies are maybe better, and it's just literally Mayorkas is like the one really, really bad dude that's in there, because they've already impeached his ass from the House. Senate never brought it up. I think they've decided to table it or whatever they did, which means it will come up again. We'll see what happens. Painful times, that's for sure. This is fun. This is Judicial Watch. Has a little moment of funny, and he's showing off his giant-ass muscles and great hair, bastard. But still funny nonetheless. I think it was anyway.
The Secret Service detail that's guarding former President Donald Trump. So this coming from Real Clear Politics, reporting that a female Secret Service agent abandoned her post in North Carolina to breastfeed her baby during Trump's visit yesterday to the Tar Heel state. The report says about 5 minutes before Trump's motorcade arrived, the site agent who manages security for the entire event did a final sweep of the location.
And while walking the route, the site agent reportedly found the Secret Service special agent in question breastfeeding with 2 other family members present in a room that's supposed to be set aside for official business like an emergency involving the president. The report says the special agent did not have permission to leave her post and gave no warning prior to the event that she needed personal time. Working Secret Service agents are prohibited from bringing children or any family members, for that matter, on a protective assignment.
Here's the thing. If you're somebody that's nursing your child, that's awesome. That's wonderful. And I understand in the office and everything else, they have to provide you a room. Totally cool. I get it. It's kind of weird still, but I get it. It's cool. But if you're like a frontline troop type person or somebody that's in a situation of harm's way, you definitely shouldn't have your child there. Or if you need to breast pump while you're at work and it's something that just has to happen, and because I get it, it probably gets sore, and I understand. Well, I don't understand. I've heard that happens, right? So I get it. I get that, right? Then you shouldn't be on active duty like that. You've got a thing that you're dealing with. That's cool. You desk duty, or you run around and investigate stuff locally where you can kind of adjust your schedule if you need to. Like, that's totally cool. But when protecting an individual and they're going to be on stage and that happens to be the moment you got to pop out the breast and pump it, I don't feel like that's probably a good idea, in the big picture. So again, however we get there, we're getting there in a weird way right now, that's for sure. We're obviously having to go through some pain to finally get it figured out. Trump's been all over the place. Let's check out some of these things. I don't want to plug it too much. It explains itself.
And Tim Cook called me up directly, and he did it himself, didn't have to pay 10 cents, and I gave him 100% of what he wanted, because he was right. I mean, you can't compete with Samsung, and one's paying a tax. But I said, you got to gradually move your company here. But then 3 hours ago, he called me. He said, I'd like to talk to you about something. What? He said, the European Union has just fined us $15 billion. I said, that's a lot. I know the feeling because I get fined too in fake cases. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if his case is fake yet, but it's a lot. then on top of that, they got fined by the European Union another $2 billion. So he's a $17 to $18 billion fine. I even said about Apple, can you pay that? I mean, do you have that kind? That's a lot of money. And he said something that was interesting. He said they're using that to run their enterprise, meaning Europe is their enterprise. And I said, that's a lot. I said, but Tim, I got to get elected first. But I'm not going to let them take advantage of our companies. That won't, be happening.
Yeah. So again, it's just the way we're navigating through these waters, and the fact that I think a lot of us really just have to accept that things are going to get interesting. Hunker down. Hunter's moon. Be prepared. Blue Sky is this some new replacement they're hoping for Twitter. A lot of people are running over to it. I find like this is the same thing of all the people that are like, if Donald Trump wins, I'm going to move to some other country. It's like, please do. Even if he loses, just get the F out anyway. That'd be fine. You make our life better. But Blue Sky is this new app that apparently everybody was flocking to because Elon Musk pissed him off with the block button and the way that works. So now they can't block people that hate their ass when they're a liberal, left-leaning, saying crazy shit. Now people can actually like bug the crap out of them. So that's kind of fun, right? They don't like that supposedly, so they're running off to this Blue Sky where I guess, in my opinion, what they're doing is trying to create an app that people can have private conversations on again. Direct messaging. Think about that. That's not monitored, at least by the government, yet. And a lot of that has to do with what back end you're using and how you code it. So again, there's a lot of great examples of how to do it, and you can definitely do this now easier without the government easily being able to get in. So that's kind of what I think Blue Sky is trying to do right now. But all said, it's never going to be successful with where they're trying to go with it. That's for sure. I don't know why I back-clicked on that. Didn't need to. Here's some more Musk stuff. Let's check this out. Let's start it over, at least where it's supposed to be. There we go. Let's try this on.
So if you do choose to be the head of the Department of Government Efficiency?
Yeah, those.
Yep. What do you think about we stop giving money to other countries such as Israel, Ukraine, and we stop funding forever wars that most likely is going to the deep state anyway?
Yeah. Well, I think in general the amount of waste that happens with the federal government is really staggering. It's a staggering amount of waste of taxpayer money. And if we're, for any given expenditure, we have to say, well, what does this do for the citizens of America? Like, how is this good for the people of America? It's their money. Like, for some weird reason, a lot of people in the sort of, state or whatever, the politicians, they seem to forget that the money being spent is your money. And if it's not being spent in a way that is beneficial to the American people, it's a misuse of the funds.
Big time. At least we finally got some people talking about it, We've got 16 attorneys generals calling on DHS to verify citizenship information of registered voters. They've got 16 different states that have registered voters that they're very curious about, and they need DHS to give them information. DHS, Mayorkas, is slow walking or not giving that information. Now, I think what'll happen is we're going to have a Supreme Court case, probably. This is my guesstimate at the moment. We'll see. That's going to deal with what happens when you've got people that aren't legally allowed to vote, that cast votes. Are we allowed to remove those votes? Because ultimately 16 states are going to do that when they get these lists after the effect, and they'll be like, all right, cool, we can now cross-reference these. Thanks. We'll go ahead and remove those votes. You can't do that. They already voted. They have a voice. That's democracy. Not when they're illegal. And let's have that discussion, please. So again, folks, we are far from over, right? This 4 years is not going to be like we don't have to fight anymore. We're not done, and it's not going to magically change overnight. We got a lot of battle in front of us, so just prepare. I'm telling you, folks, this is a ways off. We've still got a lot of fun to go through. It's grooviness. So here's something that's a good perspective on this whole why don't we trust the voting. The number one reason people distrust the election of 2020 is because it came down to 40,000 votes in 4 major cities. Each of these Democrat-controlled cities removed Republican poll watchers, sent home the media, told us they would stop counting. When we woke up the following, ballots were counted overnight without impartial observers. In Fulton County, 122,067 ballots were counted in the middle of the night with nobody watching. In Wayne County, Detroit, there was 268,649 ballots counted with nobody watching. Philadelphia County, Philadelphia, obviously, 85,349 votes counted at night with nobody there. Milwaukee County, 242,852 votes counted while nobody was there. 40,000 votes when you add up these four states, 40,000 votes. Yet in the middle of the night, 700 to 800,000 votes showed up with nobody there to watch. Now, one, we're not falling for those kinds of shenanigans again. And we've got another little helper for you guys that's necessary when you get out and vote. But had these counties not stopped the count, had they allowed nonpartisan observers to be present, and had they counted in the light of day instead of the dark of night, public perception would have been much different. Much different. So again, all this, you're a criminal for questioning the election, there's still things that have yet to be answered. Right now we got Kamala Harris running around having Usher and Lizzo campaign for them. This is what they're down to. First time I recorded, I spent way too much time on that. Saved you guys right there. That's good. Wasting an hour and 10 minutes of my life so I can do it again. It's not, I don't know. It's about as good, but we'll shorten it. I got shit coming, right? So I'm already wasting time right now just to make sure I add my touch. Judge in Trump's January 6th case rules additional evidence is going to be unsealed Friday. So they're making a big deal about this. Trump kept fighting it. Don't release. Do not open the dam. And they did. Yeah, there's nothing in there. There's big fat nothing burger stuff we already knew. So ultimately, once again, not a big deal. They didn't get any traction on this. And if anything, it probably makes them look bad in the big picture. So usually Trump gets a bump. Well, always Trump gets a bump when they do this kind of stuff. So it is funny. Right before the election, this is the best they've got, by the way. This is the best they've got. They unsealed it and it was nothing. Big fat goose egg. We have an interesting, holy crap, it's gone up even since I was recording last, by the way. That's a trip. But silver is up $33.69 right now. It's up, well, no, that's not what it's up, but that's what the price is right now. It's up almost $2, the change. I think it was a 24-hour period. Literally a $2 change. It's gone up a bunch in one day. Silver's very reflective of the sensitive stuff. Gold's a little more robust. It's up a lot this year. Folks, you don't want to stay in their system at all. That's for sure. Now, standard is drslikesgold.com. drslikesgold.com. Oh, man. I during the crash, I lost the new thing I put in there. So we've got the silver. I'm going to have to, yeah, that's a bummer. We'll try to get that in there. We got the silver thing. I don't know if I got the email. I got the email open. Damn it. I had it in there, but yeah, the crash friggin' removed the change. I edited. That sucks so balls. Whatever the frick. Where's my emails? Yeah, we'll just kill more time because that's how this game's played. This shit's email. See, I'll tell you, the world's fighting me sometimes. But yeah, silver. Where's the silver? All right, instantsilver.com/Dan Radio. instantsilver.com/Dan Radio. It's a new calculator. So if you got an IRA 401k and you got money in there, put the funds in there and see how much free silver you're getting. Silver's up $2 right now. You're getting free silver. Free silver for coming on over and let my good friends at Goldco help you out. So go to instantsilver.com/Dan Radio Style. Still helping the channel. I'm still a proud member of Goldco. This is Goldco that's behind it. In fact, it's the guy that's on top of this. He's kind of invented this calculator thing. It's one of the things he's famous for. People give him crap for it. I don't understand. It's just an easy way to calculate stuff. But again, we've of course got drslikesgold.com. You can get here with that too, but that's not going to get you the silver calculator. I don't think they've got it on the page, did they? I don't see it. So yeah, to get to the silver calculator, you got to go to instantsilver.com/Dan Radio Style. Give yourself a chance to find out how you can get out of their system while their whole thing's collapsing, and don't let them take you down with it, because that's how they want to do this game. So go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com, or go to instantsilver.com Dan Radio Style, instantsilver.com/Dan Radio Style. Get out of their system, seriously, before they manage to get out of you. And that's really how we're all being kind of raped right now. Okay, so Black Insurrectionist. This is the guy that was posting all the information about Walz and these alleged where he was molesting children. And a lot of us definitely wanted to believe it. We all wanted to believe it. And this is one of those great places where we need to be very mindful of what they're doing to us. This is 5G warfare, and this was a honeypot. They have them on both sides. They did it with Trump with his thing, like, don't release the documents, Chutkin. Don't do it. Don't do it. Oh, my God. And then when she released it, it's like, it didn't do anything, and it only helped us. Same thing here. People ran with this. Now, I was kind of questioning it the first day, but I definitely played it. But then I've been on top of it since we've realized there's a bunch of crap. So the Black Insurrectionist is at DocNet YouTube is his name, I guess, on Twitter. His account's no longer active. Oh, sorry, X. No, whatever. This account's trying to pass off the BS Tim Walz sexual assault claims. Now, I'm not saying it's BS because I'm kind of almost wondering if some people are wondering if they're trying to get out in front of this with fake stuff. So we're like, oh, it's not true, which could be. A second one then came out, pushing more, new story, a new individual, same person. And this was an AI-generated individual. It didn't have the right facial expressions. Just a lot of stuff was wrong. Now, what's very interesting is this seems like some pretty hardcore AI. These are people that have access to some better AI than what a lot of us are used to. Not sure where Musk is at in his terms, but they're still failing. But they're trying very hard. Now, why? Why are they trying to create a fake narrative that, one, makes Walz look bad? I mean, there's a lot of questions there. A lot of, I don't know. I don't know enough depth of that. He seems like a total klutz. So, again, like there's a funny meme that's out there where, like, it's like Obama showing he needed to choose somebody that was dumber than him, and it shows, like, Biden, and Biden needed to choose someone dumber than him, and it shows Kamala, and Kamala needed to choose someone dumber than her, and then it shows Walz. That's pretty fitting. But is it to get us misled? Is it to get us to F up our credibility? Because now we're talking about something that's been proven false. And again, I think this one is. Is it meant to hide something that's coming? I think all these things are things, at least in my mind, that I'm keeping tabs on. I haven't decided yet. I'm not going to until I see more info, but it's an interesting situation. Sammy Ravello, he's in a New Yorker. I'm not sure if it's from Long Island or not, but he's in New York. Fuck you, man. He's all out there, and he's put this post out because he switched over to the Republican Party, oddly. It says, I've received more vile and racist attacks in the last 24 hours since leaving the Democrat Party and supporting at real Donald Trump for president. The funny thing is that the attacks are coming from the same people who preach diversity, equity, and inclusion. All that means zero unless you are on the left. It's incredible how some people react to differing opinions, but I won't be silenced. I'm proud of my choice, and I'm excited to join a movement that puts America first. Oh, amen. That's not the right button to push. No. Got some voting stuff we should talk about. Federal Disaster Fund, it has drawn 50,000 applications after 2 hurricanes. Problem is, it's now out of money. This is that Small Business Administration loan program. It's out of money. Again, it's just one of the many reminders of what the deep state does. They raid any pool of money. So, of course, budgets that exist, like the ones that are supposed to help FEMA, those budgets have been taken because we don't have that many emergencies that they have to use it for. They've got a lot of money budgeted in there, and they waste a lot of it. Same situation's happening with the Medicaid pile of money, with the Social Security pile of money. Any pile of money that exists in the government is totally being taken advantage of. So one more example of something that should have plenty of money in it, or at least credible IOUs to some way, but don't. 50,000 different people who probably didn't even get the $750 also aren't getting any help with these small business loans. Just going to lose whatever they got. Well, this is going to be interesting if this comes up. There we go. A bunch of anonymous letters have been mailed to Trump supporters out in Pennsylvania, specifically Trump supporters, people that generally have Trump supporter signs in their yards out in Pennsylvania. they've been sent pretty threatening letters. Physical violence, violence to any pets they might have, and letting them know that their address is in a database. Very much attacking. This is one of those things, guys. You are putting yourself out there, and this is an information war with a bunch of people that want it to become an actual civil war. You're trying to get their side fired up because they're more emotional. We're emotional enough on our side, but they're worse. They're very fired up by emotion, and they're very easy to control with emotion. Hatred is a very funny thing. It just is. It's a very easy way to lure people around if they're already on a dark path. And they are easy to do this to. So be careful. That's all I can say. I'm not saying you shouldn't put Trump signs out. I think that's cool, but you have to be someone that's very strong in your own constitution as far as how you are and what you can handle. And if things get a little scary, if you get an anonymous letter in the mail that's typed out in a way they can't tell who you are and it's put on Trump campaign letterhead, again, they're messing, guys. We're at war. Again, we're against the deep state. Deep state's probably behind it to some extent because FBI can't seem to figure out who the hell it is. So, weird. Because if it was just regular Joe Schmo, some neighbor that was doing this, they'd catch him in a heartbeat. There's things when you print paperwork that you can tell where they came from. But for some reason, we don't see those watermarks on here. And they're microscopic. They're hard to see. You'd never know, but they're there. Make sure you check your ballot after you print it. Marjorie Taylor Greene's sharing this with us. It's a story from somebody, and this is, I think, one of those things that we have to keep in mind. We need to do. And if this happens, you might be identifying a problem and keep it from becoming a further problem. So this is one of the things that I'm asking you guys as you go out into the polling places to vote. Keep tabs on this. If this happens to you, and hopefully it does because you're the right person to have it happen to, make sure you make the right noise and talk about it. Don't be freaky or disrespectful. Just be like, this isn't what I voted. This is not what I did. This is what happened. I don't know what's going on. And don't be like the machines don't be like that. Just be like, it's not what I put in. I don't know why it's printing out something different than what I put in. Can we fix this? I don't want this to be my vote. They said right here, FYI to all my voting friends and family, a friend of mine in Whitfield County yesterday voted, checked his selections, then printed it, checked the printed version, and it was not marked the same. Please, really, look at the printed ballot after completion. Very strange occurrence. After several attempts for correction, they voided that ballot and machine, and he had to revote on another machine. You see, not all the machines are going to be programmed incorrectly this time. Just some of them. So God is going to send some of you to the right machine to catch it. And I need all of you to be paying attention. That's your job. When you go out, you have to find these machines. Pray that you do. And every machine you guys take out, I want somehow, got to figure out a way to let me know, but we'll get there. But every machine you take out is a machine that deep state can't use. Think about it. You can make a difference. One machine. Think about how many hundreds of votes won't get jacked up. Something to think about. You guys don't realize how important you actually are, and the power of your consciousness is what leads to where you end up. If you're ready for the next level, God gives you the next level. If you're not ready for the next level, God doesn't. It's a waste of time. You don't see it yet. DeSantis suspends election deadlines to ensure flexibility after hurricanes, which is good stuff, right? Obviously, we've had a lot of problems over there, so that's very, very good. There's kind of a funny meme going on right now. It shows the Department of Justice lawsuit against Virginia. Big giant box of ballots of illegal voter registrations. And of course, the Department of Justice, and it looks like Merrick Garland, trying to protect democracy, as they would call it, or mob rule. Important message to keep in mind. In less than 48 hours after Newsom signed a bill, California is just so horrible. He's now destroyed the gas situation here. It's going to make gas way more expensive in California. Literally, it's so bad that one of the refineries, Phillip 88, is literally closing up shop. They make 8% of the fuel we have here in California. It's one, and the whole thing Newsom was trying to fix was when they go into maintenance mode, which the state forces them to do, by the way, that they have to somehow produce extra fuel so they can just store a shit ton of fuel for when they're in maintenance mode. On top of that, the storage of fuel in this state is ridiculous. Every single gas station way back when had to redo something that put plastics and all this crazy stuff on it, like make it impossible for it ever to leach into the soil, which is great, but it's extraordinarily expensive. Many gas stations went out of business. They continue to destroy the state. New York, you're in the same place. Seattle, you're in the same place. Chicago, you're in the same place. Well, these are cities, but you're jacking your whole state up. Portland, fucking Oregon up. Oregon's always like the West Coast stepchild a little bit, but you guys are, I don't know, a bunch of you guys are going to run to Idaho or something. That'd be cool. We're in a tough place. I don't even know how else to try to kick this point home. Oh, God, some good stuff with Tyrus and Trump. And just, again, powerful stuff that I didn't even know about Trump. I don't think you probably knew this about Trump. Good stuff. Check it out.
Nelson Mandela and 80 of his constituents were trying to come to the United States.
Yeah.
The United States government wasn't helping him. No one was helping him. You chartered a 727 plane for their entire trip.
Yeah.
How is somebody, and that's crazy because you can talk about anything, and why is it hard for you to talk about the things you've done? It runs in your family. Your father helped build a synagogue. I mean, why do we not know those things?
It's something that I've never, I love doing it. I don't need praise for it. I don't, we all like a certain level of praise, but I've never, I just like helping people. I help a lot of people and I enjoy doing it and I never talk about it. It's nice that you bring it up. I also think it's not a narrative that the press likes talking about, for me.
But I think it would help a lot of the American people who have been misled, I myself included. Now, listen, I'm voting for you now because of the man you are, not just because of the policies, because not every American will get the opportunity that I had to saw who you were backstage. And that's why I have this list. I mean, I have testimonials. We can't go through all because
I want to see them.
Now, this was, I had to dig deep.
I like that.
You donated $100,000 to raise dogs. You're not even a dog guy. Yeah. Explain that.
Well, that's Lara. So I have the wife of Eric, and she's a terrific person. You know, she's actually now a very big and important person in getting elected in the Republican Party. She comes from North Carolina. She loves the dogs, and I did that in her honor, actually. And, you know, if you listen to her, boy, dogs are treated very badly. They're, you know, some evil people having to do even with dogs. So I did that for my daughter-in-law, yeah.
One thing that I find impressive about Trump, amongst many things I should say, but his ability to, in the middle of a conversation, say something, be able to analyze what I just said and be like, ooh, whoops, I need to clarify that a little bit because that's not going to be perceived well. That does show a sign of intelligence, but also emotional intelligence, EQ, as they would call it. IQ is intelligence quotient. EQ is emotional quotient. They're actually two very important things. The difference would be a doctor, brilliant surgeon, but his bedside manner sucked, right? That is high IQ, shitty EQ. It's very important. Like Elon Musk, I don't know. His EQ strikes me as not low, but not super high either. I don't know. Maybe he is. But his intelligence quotient, his IQ is ridiculously high. Or maybe it just shadows his EQ because it's so incredible. But still, it's just something that's impressive. Here's more Trump on Tyrus.
A bigger problem from within. They ate it. I noticed today they were saying, he said the enemy from within. Of course, it's Adam Schiff. These are bad people. These are sick people and bad people. And it's true. But I think it's a narrative that they don't like, frankly. I think the fake news, a term I think I came up with. I'm very proud.
Oh, you did. You coined it.
It's not tough.
You probably trademarked it, but you know, I'm not going to.
Yeah, I should trade.
I'm not going to give you business tips.
But you know, it's funny because it's a great term, but it's actually not strong enough because it's beyond fake. It's really bad.
I love that Trump was like in the Fox studio and he like met with a lot of people. He met with a bunch of people while he was there, so it's super cool. But yeah, the big call out on that is the fact that he is acknowledging that Adam Schiff is actually the problem. So again, some crazy stuff going on. Here's him talking about RFK Jr. and a lot of other stuff. It's kind of funny. It's another one of those moments where he does the weave, as we would talk about, and the dude gives him the opportunity to punt the question. And again, the way Trump played it, the way it came back, and he still played it, like I as a person that does this type of stuff, like tries to do this type of stuff, you know, whatever. Man, he's good. He's just good at this. I love watching it.
Can you give people a vision of what your cabinet will look like? Can you throw out some of the names? Because you don't need a binder from Chris Christie or Jared Kushner. You know it. So can you give people out there who you're going to be making a rough... You could easily punt on this question. I hope you won't. An idea of what your team will look like.
Well, a lot of the people that you had last night will be a part of it. We had some tremendous people. In that room really had some great people.
Wait, Cardinal Dolan?
Yeah, well, I'd put him in, right?
Right?
Honestly, and he looked good. He lost weight. He looked nice and thin. I said,
the
"What
nicest
are you doing?"
guy, isn't he?
Right? No, he's a great guy, and that's why I did it to a large. You know, by the way, he called me during COVID, and he said the Catholic Church needs billions of dollars to keep the school going, and the schools are, you know, they run great schools. And I got him the money during COVID, and I think it meant a lot to him. I think it meant a lot to the Catholic people. I got him $1.7 billion, and they had a great school system during COVID, and they kept it open.
I know I did a feature with him then. I know you're doing the weave, so you always come back. So just to the question, can you throw some names out of the people?
I thought I got out of it.
No, you told me the weave. You told me about the weave.
No, it's all about the weave. You know, sometimes I get, they say, it's either genius, it's so brilliant, I go from here, and then it being... But you always come right back to where it's supposed to be.
I just want you to
Some say it's total genius. Some say, well, what's going on here? No, it's pretty good, I tell you. Look, I think it's a little bit early. I have great people at every position. But I don't like talking
Have you pre-thought it?
Like maybe every minute of every day.
You said RFK Jr.
Oh, he's going to be a part of it. You know, he had a big impact because he's very much into women's health, and he's very much into the environment, which a lot of people like. People really like him. He looked good last night.
He's in very good shape.
Yeah, he is in good shape. I saw the pictures of him with the whole thing.
And you don't take your shirt off and bench press if you're not in good shape.
Oh, it's pretty good.
Hey, so you got a question?
I do it. Would you like me to do it?
I would like you to do it.
I like it with the whole thing. You mean that six-pack? That thing you, no offense, Trump, I haven't seen in a long time, sir. Oh, my God, I love it. I love it. Again, the dude's a rock star. That's all I can say. Reagan rock star. Here's more Musk saying some pretty crazy shit.
You know, interesting to see the crossover between the Epstein client list and Kamala's puppet masters. I bet there's a lot of names that appear in both lists.
And think about that for a second. What he said, again, crazy because the deep state can't have that. Who is supporting Kamala and who's on the Epstein client list? I guarantee, like he said, you're going to see so much overlap, it's going to blow your mind. It's all going to make sense. We're heading to a thing that's meant to be so crazy that everybody finally sees it. Everybody thinks we've already been through it. That was the last election, Dan. I'm awake now. Oh, we're not there yet. Not even close. But again, I think it's the emotional component of it. That's where I think each one of us is going to have our own unique experience. Is mostly going to be the emotional side of it. We're all going to react emotionally. And the key is to try to dim that or not control, but appreciate, understand, and I mean, because you can't just sit there in that. It's going to tear some of us up. Elizabeth Warren, I don't want to play this. It was pretty good. She's horrible. She's talking about crypto, and I was proud of myself. It's just 2.5 minutes. And the dude's like, he goes, I've been raped before. I got raped for 2 years. This dude, and it's pretty powerful. Pretty hard to admit stuff like that too, right? So he'd been raped. Asked her to explain why she doesn't try to get these people off the streets. And why do you keep trying to cover up the Jeffrey Epstein client list? And then immediately when he finally finishes asking the question, she goes into talking about crypto again. Doesn't answer his question at all. And then asks him another question. Again, this is like what Trump was doing, but she's not good at it. And he spins it back around to the original question. Even though he was not supposed to. He was supposed to answer the new question. So he's like, why didn't you answer that question? And that was kind of where they cut it. That was 2.5 minutes. I did less. So I saved you some time. Usually it doesn't happen. Tim Burr. So this guy Rubin is fugged, as they're saying here. But this guy Rubin is running Gallego, I believe, and he is from Arizona, Democrat. His divorce proceedings have come out public. One of the things I saw that seemed to really, really upset people, which is a jacked up thing, so I'm not trying to justify it by any stretch. It's just this is the thing I saw that was pissing people off the most. Apparently, he filed for divorce while his wife was like I don't know, made it sound like she was like in her 8th month of pregnancy. Like she was very pregnant, and he's like, yeah, so this whole marriage thing, I don't know, it's not working for me. And then files the papers while she's, plump and ready to go. Almost kind of like Steven Crowder's thing. Like that was really bad timing. Like, I don't know who's playing against people here or if it's just the light coming through. But yeah, it's just funny how sometimes you see people in their worst. I'll admit, I've said dickish things in my life, but I would hope I wouldn't be that bad. So, yeah, this is an interesting time. And this Gallego guy, again, Marine Corps, all that, right? That hoorah, I think we'd say. But unfortunately, he's a Democrat, and unfortunately, sounds like a little bit of a douche, at least as far as the divorce records that are coming out. They wanted to keep those sealed. The judge said, no, we can let those be out there because you guys want to do that with Trump and everybody else. So precedent's been set. This is kind of the thing. Didn't have any good reason not to. He's like, but it might cause harm to my relationships or something. And he's like, yeah, you're a dick. People need to see that. So yeah, it's probably going to cause some harm to your relationships. They didn't say that, but this is, of course, what they should be thinking. I don't like sharing this, and do not share this with Democrats. So when you ever have discussions, this is almost the main reason I'm sharing this post, this slide. A lot of us talk to Democrats. We try to make ripples. Do not come at it from this angle, please. Just saying, because this actually will enhance their resolve to go vote or enhance their resolve to get others to vote. Right now, as much as it sucks for them, but if a Democrat that's going to vote the Democrat ticket doesn't want to vote, they don't feel inspired to vote, all right, you can stay home. I don't want to motivate you to vote. I know you're not watching my show, but some of you guys might be talking to these people. This is something that you don't want to share with them, but for those of you that are like, oh, that's some good news, because first day of voting seems to be going interesting. So in this particular place, Gaston County in North Carolina, 2020 day one, 6,600 voters. Democrats were 37% of that. GOP was 39%, a little bit bigger. And UNA, which unidentified or just transgender, I'm just kidding, it's probably unidentified or independent, I should say, 22%, which is shocking. So, all right, 6,600 voters, cool. 2024, day one, 7,100 voters, so about 500 more voters. Dems dropped 10 full percent. 10% of that. So 27% of this even enhanced number is Democrats. Republicans are up 7 points. So they're 46.4%. And then the independent thing still at 25%. So it's even gone up. And again, independents aren't going to vote for Kamala. Almost overwhelmingly. They may not vote for Trump. They probably will. But they're probably not going to vote for Kamala. So again, interesting prospects. Don't give that to Democrats. It'll make them all fired up and want to go vote. Maine Republicans call for a probe of non-citizens registering to vote. Them and, they're probably part of that 16 different states that are trying to get this information so they can clean up their voter rolls. Deep state doesn't want to let them do that. U.S. states warn officials delaying tampering with the vote could bring criminal charges. So these states that were like, we're going to hand count, we're going to have this stuff, we're going to certify the election, they're like, here's the thing, if you guys do that and you hold up the state's election, we're going to come arrest you. We know they will, and I'm hoping there's a few, if it's needed, hopefully it's not needed, but I'm hoping there's a few people that are willing to pull a Tina Peters. Tina Peters is taking something on the chin right now, but I think Tina Peters in the end is going to get let out and always be shown as a hero. Right? Like in the big picture, like they'll probably put her face on like Mount Rushmore-ito, the little guy next door. Not that she's Hispanic or something. I don't know. In the South, Spanish is kind of you default to sometimes. It's just sort of what it is. New Real Clear Politics, no toss-ups map now shows Donald Trump flipping Wisconsin against Kamala Harris. Again, it's polls. Who cares? But right now they're showing 312 votes. The Electoral College votes for Trump, 226 for Harris-Walz. Those numbers are going to change further. We know that. These guys are a joke. These guys are a mess. Absolute mess. So many U.S. state Dem candidates are now embracing Trump in their home states. Make no mistake, they're Dems, and as they've shown, will always vote that way. Now, people, you got to look back at their actions over a period of time. If they're just recently getting into it, yeah, they're two-facing, okay? Don't trust them. That's a red flag. Vote the opposite of them. And really what Donald Trump Jr. is saying is just vote the Republican ticket. That's basically what I'm doing, but I honestly don't have a lot of options. I literally don't. And one of them's like the water board that I'm voting for right now. Maybe it's just because I'm not in the parties. I don't know. But whatever the case is, we're not voting for a whole bunch of stuff. There's like only a couple propositions. It seemed like there's not a lot in there. It's tripping me out a little bit. A little bit. All right. We got Dan Bongino brought the receipts. He had Trump on. I guess the interview was like quick. I mean, it looked like it took him a second to get in there anyway. So Bongino, I guess it sort of closed quickly. And the deep state's been kind of making a big deal about the fact that Trump's been canceling some different campaign events. And so they're trying to tie in Bongino as like, Trump just doesn't have time. He's too exhausted. But what it is we're down to the last days. And Trump is going to use his time where it's best used. That's what Trump's doing. So campaign events that get canceled, if you're in an area that gets canceled, it's because Trump realizes you got it. You got it. He doesn't need to come there. That's awesome. And the places he's going are the places that need him, or we still have a chance, or whatever. So again, it's just the bullshit that they keep telling us. Here's some stuff from Trump at the Al Smith dinner. It's pretty funny.
This is a very religious evening to me. It really is. It represents so much. My sister was somebody that loved the church and gave to the church. The cardinal knew that. Had a certain priest that she thought was incredible, right? For a certain very, very fine man that she thought was incredible. Having recently, myself, survived 2 assassination attempts. I survived. I have a chart that went down to the right. Fortunately, I looked at it's my all-time favorite piece of paper. But it went down, and I looked to the right, and I said, was that luck? What was that, luck, or was that God that did that? And I think it was God that did that. I do. But I have a very fresh, Cardinal, I have a very fresh appreciation for how blessed we are by God's providence and his divine mercy. I mean, that was something I was not supposed to be here tonight. That I can tell you. So with God's help, I know there is nothing that cannot be achieved. We can achieve so much good with this country and get together and unify.
There's a lot of us that may have escaped death at some point of our lives. And many people come to that same conclusion that, I'm supposed to be here. More stuff with Trump.
Apparently Joe didn't think it was fair for me to have the podium to myself with Kamala skipping the event. So he called, looked at me, and said, Don't. Does anybody understand that? Yeah. I thought it was actually very good until just now.
That's the best part of that. He did a shit joke. Didn't go over. That happens to me way too often. Not as often as it does for him. He's like, I thought it was funny. And then you say it and you're like, well, nobody else seems to. Shit. Damn it. Mental note, don't do that again. Donald Trump now cracking jokes about his assassination attempts.
Tradition holds that I'm supposed to tell a few self-deprecating jokes this evening. So here it goes. Nope, I've got nothing. There's nothing to say. I guess I just don't see the point of taking shots at myself when other people have been shooting at me for a hell of a long time and they shoot at.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been shot at. I've had a gun stuck to my head, but never shot at. So yeah, that's
see this? White
crazy, right? That is some craziness. Again, more Trump.
There's a group called White Dudes for Harris. Have you seen this? White Dudes for Harris. Anybody know? Are some of you here? White Dudes for Harris? Doesn't sound like it. But I'm not worried about them at all because their wives and their wives' lovers are all voting for me. Every one of those people is voting for me.
So smug, so beautiful. Love it. Just being a dick like he should be. So again, Kamala Harris posted a video to X of herself speaking last week to Mayor of St. Petersburg, Florida. She posted this thing. It was 2 minutes long. Let's break that into seconds because it's the world I live in and it makes more sense in a second here. 120 seconds. It was 2 minutes long. 120 seconds she had recorded. She cut 38 seconds out. 120 total, 38 cut out because she said a whole bunch of self-aggrandizing stuff that made it seem like the 38%, well, half of that percent of the call was just trying to be political. So she had to cut it out because it sounded so bad, because one of her handlers is like, frick. Majority of Pennsylvania county sheriffs have wholeheartedly endorsed Trump now. That's some good news, I would say. So glad we had the crash. Beautiful picture. Maxim endorsing Trump. And this is Trump. I'm guessing, I don't know what kind of car this is. You guys, car people, should know. Is that a Ferrari? I don't know. It looks like the Ferrari usually, but it's like a Raider emblem almost too. So I have no idea what the hell that is. But yeah, it's gorgeous wife. Hey now. I think one of the best looking first ladies we've ever had. Even probably going back to Kennedy. I think she's far hotter and sounds cooler when she talks. Let's just be honest. And Kennedy was cool. Don't get me wrong. You know. Here's more Trump talking about Kamala skipping the Al Smith dinner, probably because she's not the smartest person like me. I'm not very bright. I just turned off my own microphone. Idiot. Anyway.
Why do you think she missed it? There's a lot of theories.
Okay, I think that she's not competent. I don't want to say this kind of stuff, but we can't live with this. We're not going to be able to live with it.
So you don't think she's funny?
I don't think she's funny. I don't look her staff. She's got 5% of her staff stayed with her. 95% quit. If that happened to me, I'd be front page of every. Nobody likes her. Nobody wants to be with her. And I only say this. I don't like even saying it, but we can't have her as a president. She's a Marxist. We're not ready for a Marxist. Do you agree with that?
I do agree with you.
I like how he fixes it before he says it. He's just Marxist. I mean, she's a dirty, rotten whore. That would be like where you want. I don't want to say this, but it's pretty funny. Yeah, she's a Marxist. That's unquestionable. If Dad was a Marxist, she's a Marxist. Wouldn't you like to be a Marxist too? Trump cancels a streak of events with only days until the election. Again, Axios. They're just trying to make noise about it. It's kind of stupid. New York Times posted or put out or whatever the frick. 2 key prosecutors in Trump document case have left the special counsel's office. Kind of interesting. Mainly, I think, because a lot of the whole thing has gotten cremated because of official docs and the fact that they didn't fairly go against Biden or anyone else. There's no way this is going to make it through the Supreme Court because of how unfair they're prosecuting this. They'd literally have to take down Mike Pence. They'd have to take down Joe Biden. They'd have to take down Obama. They'd have to, there's a whole slew of people that would have to come down. And the Supreme Court's going to be like, have you ever done this with anybody else? There's people that are guilty, but you said they were not mentally stable to actually go through trial. And yet we're going to bust this guy? Again, especially when the left is like, he's exhausted. He can't talk. Okay. Yeah, okay. Trump assassination suspect has asked Judge Eileen Cannon to recuse herself from the case. So they're trying to get her off the case. And their argument is that Trump put her there and that she seems to be kind of pro-Trump. And so I guess the fact that this dude was there to shoot Trump, possibly, would mean that she will not be partial. I mean, she'll, I think, follow the law, but again, it's a great question. I'm curious how she feels about it. She's ultimately the one that's got to decide. I mean, if Mershon and the other douchehole out there in New York are any indication, then I would say, well, she's probably able to say, no, this won't affect me. I'm cool with that, which is probably what she will say. Nice try. No, we're not going to go ahead and recuse ourselves. Have a nice day. We'll see you in court in precisely however many days. So, F those people. F them, I say. Want to remind you guys of my good friends at Pet Club. They just great products for your animals. The Coriolis versicolor mushroom has over 400 studies. You can go to the research section when you hit danradiostyle.petclub247.com, danradiostyle.petclub247.com. All sorts, 400 studies showing the benefits to the immune system specifically, but also against a number of problems. Cancers being one of them, believe it or not. I've even had a gentleman on my show way back when, Chris Eriks, Flex the Truth, a.k.a. Baby Trump. He's got a lot of names. But he had a tumor, pretty big one. And he took large quantities of this and was able to, he claims, able to put this down. I've taken this. I feel better. It actually helps me sleep at night. I've been having weirdly better dreams. I've been totally sleeping better at night just in the big picture. I think that some of that's because I've dealt with stress a little bit. There's a lot of factors, obviously. But I'm enjoying it. I've got my 2 right here, and I double up on them every day. And I know it's helping. I don't necessarily have a problem that I'm worried about, but I did smoke for a lot of years, and, I enjoy life a little bit from here to there. And so sometimes I like, let's make sure we've got nothing bad going on, or let's make sure we're helping it the most we can. So when you go to shop, the funny thing, you've got something for your dogs, your cats, your horses, and humans. There's a lot of great products. All of these. If you got a dog that's having some immune system problems, you have a dog that's maybe got some problems with, like what I said, there's been a lot of people that have actually talked about their experiences and how their animals are getting so much better. And the big one, by the way, for the dogs anyways, is these mush puppies right here. These mush puppies right there. It's like a cookie that's got the Coriolis versicolor in it. It's tasty. It's got good ingredients. They're giving them just one a day, and they start seeing a difference. Now, for dogs that have severe problems, I would actually suggest getting into their food line because it's got the mushroom as well as being healthy. They've also got super sauce. You can put it on whatever food you're already getting, and that makes that mushroom be in their food, and it's like a gravy for the dog, so the dog's going to love it. They've got freeze-dried, which is awesome, too, when you think about the way things are going these days. One, it tends to store longer, too. It's less space in your house, or maybe you live in a camper or something, or a mobile home. It's less space. And when you add water, it gets 4 times bigger. And it's like a gravy, or it's sort of wet at that point. And dogs typically like that too, right? You can even maybe warm it up, the water a little bit if you want. So they've got amazing product lines, and the same for cats. They've also got toys, by the way, that are super healthy instead of the lead-filled stuff we get from China. They've got stuff for cats, which is basically these Mojos is the treat. If you want an easy way to get your cat eating this stuff, you got an older cat that's maybe got some issues, this is a way to actually make a difference. And I dare and ask each one of you to try. For $17.99, that's all you're going to find, you'll find out if you see a difference. Start giving them one a day, and you'll probably start to notice a difference in a short period of time. They've also got it for horses, believe it or not. They've got mush ponies, and there's a number of buying options, then a great number of products for humans that I highly recommend you look into. Go to danradiostyle.petclub247.com. That's danradiostyle.petclub247.com. Make that big step. It's actually going to make a difference in your life and your loved ones' lives, and I mean the little guys, the 4-legged loved ones. Texas AG sues doctor accused of providing transgender care to 21 minors. They did this after the new law went into place. I think there might have been a stay. I'm curious how this works legally. I think there might have been a stay on it while it went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court ultimately backed it, I believe, if I remember correctly. And so this doctor, in the meantime, was still continuing to do stuff. And it seems that he's going after her because she, frankly, should have stopped doing that stuff during that time period and didn't. So we'll find out more as that moves forward. Florida human trafficking sting nabs 157 people, including 25 illegal immigrants. This happened down in Florida. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on down there. And this is Polk County. Supposedly a lot of where some of the trafficking's been happening in a big way. So again, you have a whole little Hollywood area in Florida. You have a Disney World area in Florida. You got Epcot and all. So yes, I bet you have underground stuff there too, which is kind of fascinating in Florida, considering you'd think if you put a shovel in the ground, doesn't water immediately flood into it when you live in Florida? Like you go to plant and suddenly seawater seeps in because you're like 0-foot elevation on the entire state. I'm joking, of course, but it's kind of like that. Yeah, so they big nab, big bunch of people. Let's see, we got two. This is just stupid. So 2 Sudanese nationals have been indicted for alleged role in an anonymous Sudan cyber attack on hospitals, government facilities, and other critical infrastructure in Los Angeles around the world. Somehow, our wonderful government figured out how to catch these guys, these 2 Sudanese nationals that were operating and controlling a company called Anonymous Sudan. For anybody that spends any time in any of this, you should immediately go, Anonymous Sudan? Are you kidding? So the 2 anonymous guys behind this, supposedly, got busted. Again, wow, the FBI found this? They were named Anonymous Sudan. Could they have, had, flashlights on their own, find us, come look at us, FBI. Or, FBI, did you make them because you're that retarded and it needs to be obvious because American people won't figure it out? Whatever the case is, this whole thing smells badly. Yeah, no, it's that. Just making sure. It's been a tough day, but that's not me this time. Deodorant's holding up. Biden and Schultz vow to keep the Ukraine aid as prospect of Trump victory looms. So they're trying to make deals that they're not going to be able to cash. Let's put it that way. They're trying to keep things in play. These things aren't going to get approved. This budget's not going to get approved. But Biden's making promises, trying to look like he's important. He's not. We know that. It's Politico that's reporting it, so we know we can't trust the story. Russian officials close to Putin. He mysteriously dies after falling down his stairs and breaking his neck. I will tell you what, if you are close to Putin and you are not doing what you need to be doing, like you're not working the extra hours, yeah. Whoops. You don't see those stairs? Now, my guess is they broke his neck and then threw him down the stairs to make it look like that's how he broke his neck, because you want to make sure he's dead first, and then you break their neck, or you throw him down the stairs, but not that I've ever thought about this. That would be a thought crime in England. I could get in trouble. I've never thought about that before. I mean, I take the fifth. Xi Jinping appears on Taiwan facing island after menacing Chinese war. The fact that he's facing Taiwan, he's on this island that's kind of close, and he's like, hey, Taiwan. And he like feels like, all the flat earthers are like, see, he's waving at him. Whatever. But they're, he's right there. He's like looking at him. And it's a symbolic gesture. Like, yeah. Right, doing the superhero pose, or maybe he lands, with his fist on the ground. That'd be cool. But they're all dressed too, like, I don't know. I don't know what band would be like this, but it seriously looks like the Chinese version of New Generation, because they're older nowadays. New Direction, I was thinking. Whatever. It wasn't funny either way, so I guess why spend extra time being less funny than it already was. Center Bridge back lab is under pressure. This is the one that caught fire. Was it Ohio again? Oh, Georgia this time. That's right. And that's the one that everybody had the chlorine gas. Everybody had to stay indoors for a couple weeks. Well, there's a big lawsuit going on with those guys right now. This is the fourth major thing they've had in 20 years. So they're basically talking about shutting them down. Biolab Inc. I wonder if they make vaccines or if they do something illegal or bad. Like maybe we just saw ourselves take out a deep state-run biolab in the middle of Georgia. Just a thought, Altman's New World. Smaller name, even bigger vision. This is a little scary. WorldCoin, the Sam Altman-backed eye scanning identity company, is dropping their second half of its name now. So they're going to be this new thing that hopes to have everyone's eye scans retina. Folks, your eye scan is like a fingerprint, except your fingerprints are not quite as bad. An eye scan is very unique. I would never do this. Never, ever let if you're already doing a face scan, it's probably somewhat happening, but this stuff's hackable, folks. So you could have an eye scan and be like, see, it's security. Nothing knows it. But that's a file. That gets digitized. That image gets digitized. I give that image to anything, and now I've presented the image that your eye scan's supposed to do. It's kind of like the thing whenever there's a spy movie, right? And there's a dude that's his fingerprint is needed to get into the room. So they just cut the dude's finger off, right? And then just put it on there. And I'm sure real life scanners require it to feel like it's blood temp. So maybe they have to keep it warm, but whatever. Just put it on there and beep, there you go. Done. You don't have your finger anymore. You could even leave them alive. So, again, it's a digitized thing, and it's not as foolproof as people like to think. And, in fact, I think, put yourself at greater risk when you put out your... It's one thing to have to try to get a new Social Security number or a new driver's license, right? It's another thing to have to try to figure out how to get new fingerprints. Can't do it. Or face scan. Or can't do it. Don't do it. Don't fall for their stupid ideas, guys. And I think the final thing... What was this? Oh, this was just cool. So, I don't want to ruin it. We'll close out with that. It's just a cool SpaceX thing, kind of showing. It's like a big, probably, high D picture. So it's a really cool movie from that standpoint, and also just very, very groovy. So for you guys, space people that enjoy what SpaceX has been doing, especially with the Raptor, the big guy, it's impressive. They've got the most powerful set of engines that have really ever been done. I believe the ones for Saturn V were bigger for sure and had higher thrust, but they only had like 4 or so of those on the bottom of that big guy. They got like 33 of these individual engines, and I believe that overall thrust is actually significant. Also, using technologies that aren't nearly as poisonous. It's actually kerosene, I believe, or something to that effect. In most cases, it's not like these hypogolic, I think they are, but fuels, essentially things that are toxic in their own right, but when they mix together, they create a thrust, but they're extraordinarily expensive to manufacture, these hypogolic fuels. So, again, it's just kind of cool for any of you guys that are uber geeks, or ladies that are uber geeks out there. Election's the big deal right now, folks. And then Trump just continuing to be cool and letting everybody know that. Make sure you vote. Make sure you go out there and vote. Make sure those machines are doing what they're supposed to do. And maybe you are the lucky one that finds the broken machine. Let's hope that's the case. I love you guys. Shoulder to shoulder. It's time. Game on. The next month is going to be a big, big deal. Stay strong, guys. Be prepared. Get plenty of sleep. Drink lots of fluids. Seriously. The next month is going to be tough. Hang tight. I love you guys. Where we go one, we go all. We're all together, folks. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.